Some politicians might fare better if only the facts and meddlesome media would not get in their way. So on our #1 story in the countdown, former Governor Sarah Palin is giving a big foreign policy speech that conveniently will be closed to the press. She's going to speak to communists and keep out those who like democracy. Good thinking. And Congressman Joe Wrongway Wilson, meanwhile, tried again to buff up his image with another swing and another miss. Joining me in a moment, Craig Ferguson, author of American on Purpose. The Palin keynote address this Wednesday before the CLSA Investors Forum in Hong Kong. The subject, U.S.-China relations, as well as governance and health care, according to the CEO of the investment brokerage firm that's hosting the event. Mrs. Palin choosing to opt out of media coverage. She said, if I do that with press in the room, I'll have to say different things. If only Congressman Wilson could so easily thwart the pesky media. Mr. Wilson recently tried to demonstrate his friendly relationship with the House Majority Whip, Jim Clyburn. Wilson claimed he had supported Clyburn's daughter for a state position in South Carolina in 1998. In fact, Mr. Wilson, then a state senator, had supported somebody else. A Wilson aide later acknowledged the mistake, quoting, "He honestly thought he had voted in favor of her." Joining me now, as promised, the host of The Late Late Show on CBS and author of American on Purpose in bookstores tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. I'm very excited.
Ferguson, welcome.
Thank you, Keith. It's very, very nice to be here. And I want to tell you that my wife just texted me and said how lovely your glasses were tonight, and I have to agree. You look dashing.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, they're nice.
And thank Megan for me as well.
I will.
And in fact, I'll give them to you as souvenirs.
No, don't, because you won't be able to do it.
And they're brand new.
Yeah.
As my guest here, let me throw out, you can throw out the first interruption if you want to.
Okay.
I'll be Joe Wilson and I'll say, I voted for Jim Clyburn's daughter, and you can say,
you lie,
of course.
Well, absolutely.
we're now living in this sort of post-Joe Wilson world. Is it to your benefit to have a Joe Wilson?
Wait. Were we ever living in a pre-Joe Wilson world? The world is defined by the existence of Joe Wilson?
Everybody will have 15 minutes, and this is his.
I don't know. I got very upset with him when he did that. Because I don't care if he disagrees with the president. He should disagree with the president. If he disagrees, he disagrees. Mm-hmm. We're all Americans. That's fine. He can disagree. But what he did was he turned Congress into the Jerry Springer show, and that's not acceptable. You don't do that. It's not you didn't, Mr. President. You can't do that. That's not right.
You almost had that opportunity, or you did have that opportunity. You could have done that, couldn't you?
Well, when I did the White House correspondence, you were all mad at me when I did the White House Correspondents' Dinner. You didn't go because you were saying, I'm not getting cozy with the Bush administration.
No, not at all. No. I just thought my life would not be worth the, I could not get insurance to go. Nothing to do with you.
You know what amazed me at the White House Correspondents' Dinner is that the amount of people that were there, and everyone was just excited because the Jonas Brothers turned up. That's who the big stars were there that night. I'm afraid.
Yeah, there's a certain, somebody called it once the prom for the not-so-attractive people, only they didn't use that phrase.
But well, that wouldn't have been me. I wouldn't have said that because I was there.
No, you had too much fun. As you recount in the book with this anecdote from the evening, can you recount any of the unexpected views of the presidency, as it were, or the part of the presidency?
Well, it was one of the things that my wife, who, I mentioned earlier to you, Megan, noticed when we were in the little reception beforehand that when Laura Bush stood in a certain light, you could see her underpants, which was, if your sense of humour is as infantile as mine, I was like, oh, I see England, I see France, I see the First Lady's underpants, and it really made the event for me. And may I say, by the way, the Bushes were charming and very nice people, and weren't in any way ingracious, if that's a word, or rude or standoffish. They were very warm and welcoming, but I couldn't help but notice I could see her underpants, and it delighted me. Not in anything but a patriotic way, though.
In a kind of inside Washington way, sort of the ultimate.
very inside Washington, yeah.
Now, one other topical thing here. I mentioned this speech that Mrs. Palin's going to give.
This is going to shock you. I'm with Palin on this. This is going to shock you. I'm with her. Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because when you do your best material and there's cameras in your own, then you can't do it again in the Chuckle Hut in Wasilla later on. You can't do your A material if there's cameras in there. You save it for the comedy special.
But she's not a comedian.
That's what you say.
What?
I don't know about that, Keith.
Now you're a published American author.
Yes.
Part of the inspiration for the book was the citizenship process.
Sure.
You discussed that it seemed to be a surprise to you that the natives here couldn't necessarily pass the same civics tests that you had to get your stamp of approval.
I say that with a certain amount of, I don't really mean that. I mean, because I think there's a lot of times when, if I'm in Scotland, an American tourist will say, do you know this is where the Battle of Gachmahach was? And I was like, yes, I did know that. And did you know that? And I'm just making crap up, because I don't know. I think the great tragedy is when you live, I mean, have you been up the Empire State Building recently? I mean,
1966.
Well, there you go. You know what I mean? You tend to not take advantage of what you have. You take for granted what you have around you quite a lot of the time.
Last time we were on together, Mr. Obama was on the Tonight Show. He's just on Dave's show.
Yes.
He joked about whether or not some of the opposition to him was due to race. He said he was born a black man and, in fact, was a black man before the election. Is that the smart way to handle that issue from both a comedic and a presidential point of view, in your opinion?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, it's such an odd and difficult thing to do. I just think the thing that he did wrong was that he did the Tonight Show before he did Dave. I think that he should have done Letterman first. I mean, he managed to squeak by in the election, fair enough, but he should have done Letterman first. That would have been a statesman would have done that, Keith.
After Dave got him elected? You're damn right he should have done that. Should have led the band.
But you did, Dave, because McCain let down Dave, and I think, that was written into history, wasn't it?
Unbelievable to this day. Like sitting next to Wellington at Waterloo as he's defeating Napoleon. It was that good to watch.
Yeah,
anyway,
it was fun.
Craig Ferguson's book, The American on Purpose, is out tomorrow. Best of luck with it.
Well, thanks. Now, I want to say about the book, I don't know if it's any good, but I did my very best on it.
I think you did. I read it.
Well, yeah, I know.
Hence the blurb.
Yeah, no, thanks very much.
You're very welcome. Great, thanks for your time. The show, of course, is The Late Late Show. It's on another network. Actually, a network. This is another network. Thanks, Craig.
Thanks, Keith.
That's Countdown for this, the 2,335th day since the previous president declared mission accomplished in Iraq. I'm Keith Olbermann, as my friend Ernie Anastas would sign off. Keep plucking that chicken.